அவர் எங்கள் சங்கீதமானவர், பலமுள்ள கோட்டையுமா, ஜீவனின் அதிபதியானவரை ஜீவிய காலமெல்லாம் வாழ்த்திடுவோம். அவர் எங்கள் சங்கீதமானவர், பலமுள்ள கோட்டையுமா, ஜீவனின் அதிபதியான அவரை ஜீவிய காலமெல்லாம் வாழ்த்திடுவோம். அவர் எங்கள் சங்கீதமானவர். இந்த நாமத்தினால் இருதயம் ஒருமித்தால் அவர் நடுவில், 2-3 பேர் இந்த நாமத்தினால் இருதயம் ஒருமித்தால் அவர் நடுவில் இருப்பேன் என்றவர் நமது தேவன், இருப்பேன் என்றவர் நமது தேவன். இரு கரம் கூப்பி வாழ்த்திடுவோம். அவர் எங்கள் சங்கீதமானவர், பலமுள்ள கோட்டையுமா, ஜீவனின் அதிபதியான அவரை ஜீவிய காலமெல்லாம் வாழ்த்திடுவோம். அவர் எங்கள் சங்கீதமானவர். தூதிகளின் மத்தியில் வாசம் செய்யும் தூதர்கள் போற்றும் தேவன் அவரே, தூதிகளின் மத்தியில் வாசம் செய்யும் தூதர்கள் போற்றும் தேவன் அவரே, வேண்டிடும் பக்தர்களின் குறைகள் தீர்க்கும், வேண்டிடும் பக்தர்களின் குறைகள் தீர்க்கும் திக்கற்ற பிள்ளைகள் தேவனவரே, திக்கற்ற பிள்ளைகள் தேவனவரே. அவர் எங்கள் சங்கீதமானவர், பலமுள்ள கோட்டையுமா, ஜீவனின் அதிபதியான அவரை ஜீவிய காலமெல்லாம் வாழ்த்திடுவோம். அவர் எங்கள் சங்கீதமானவர்.
Hi, hello everything. It has been more than a month now. I didn't post anything. I was so busy, and I think now I'm getting little relaxed, and hopefully I will be trying to post some videos from now on. Actually, I wanted to talk to you guys regarding the Torahs. You know, Torah mean the books or the commandments or the instructions that Moses received in the Mount Sinai. So he wrote it as a book, and that's the only thing that usually the people they follow in the Jewish community. So there is a Torah portion in each and every week they read, and there is also there is another portion called Haftorah. Haftorah means the prophetical or the prophet sayings, what they said about the Torah portions. It's all interconnected, and also as a Messianic Christians, they also read the portions called Brit Kadasha. That means the New Testament portion of what it connects and how it connects to the Old Testament. This week, I wanted to talk to you about the Torah portion, which I literally preached in a Jewish congregation last week's Torah portion, which is called Va et Kanan. Va et Kanan, meaning I beseech thee, or I plead thee, or I beg thee, or I request thee. It's a Moses asking to God to reconsider God's decision. That's what Ve et Kanan means. The references are Deuteronomy 3:23 to Deuteronomy 7:11. And also in the prophetical version, which is Haftarah, we call it is Isaiah chapter 40:1 to 26. And the Brit Kadasha version, which is the New Testament portion, which is Luke 23. So all these are interconnected. What we are talking about, what we mean by Ve et Kanan. Et Kanan is a Hebrew word which means, I already told, I beg thee. Moses, there are other books which the Jewish people refer. There are Torah, which are written Torah, and also verbal Torah. There are some Torah book which is much bigger than maybe a meter wide or 2 meter wide from the Bible. It contains the verbal Torah. All those days, the Jewish people, whatever they heard from generations after generations, they wrote it in a book, and they kept it in a Torah portions along with the explanations and what instance happens in those verbal Torah. And this one is a written Torah, which is condensed book that what we have. So most of the time, Jewish people, they go back and refer certain things in the verbal Torah. And they call some other books called Midrasha or some Talmudian books. So there are some incidents that which is not mentioned in this Bible, but which is connected to the biblical history, which merges or intermingles exactly and what the Bible talks about. And it is good to know on the both sides of it. So here we are, Moses is pleading to God. That's what the other books of Jewish people tells us. What it tells that Moses was pleading to God, God, why you did not allow me to enter into the Canaan. Remember, Moses did almost 120 years of his ministry. And Moses was the one person who received the Torah from God. Moses was the one who climbed up to the Mount Sinai. Moses was the one who led the whole Israel people, 6 million people, out of the Egypt and into the Canaan. And until the gate of Canaan. But God did not allow him to enter into Canaan. But all these days, as a traditional Christian, as a CSI traditional person, I was told to believe, or I was taught to believe, that Moses did one mistake in his life. The mistake was that instead of stretching his hand to the rock, he beat the rock when the people was murmuring for a water. So God commanded him to stretch his hands to the rock, but Moses, he beat the rock. So that's why he was forbidden to enter into the land of Canaan. This is what the one that I was believing all these days. But when I enter into the books of Jewish, when I mingle with the Hebrew community, the reasons are totally different than what we learned all these days. That's what I wanted to tell you today. Why Moses was begging to God, God, would you mind please let me into the Canaan? I worked for you 120 years. This is what the writings in the other books of, the Torah tells us. What it tells us, Moses was begging to God, God, make me as a wild beast of the field, so that I can enter into the land. At least I can breathe the air and drink the water, and at least my soul will be happy, will be comforted, will satisfy. Even if you're not allowing me to go inside there. God says no. And Moses again asked, God, why don't you make me as a bird so that I can fly into the country and then I can see the land? God says no. And also Moses asks, even the bones of Joseph are going inside the land of Canaan. the bones of Joseph are entering into the land of Canaan. What did I do, that big mistake, that why I should be going inside the land of Canaan? And then God told him one thing. Moses, this is what the other books of Jewish people tells. Remember, this is not an extra story, and you don't come with me, oh, this is stories that we don't want to believe. But, in connection, how beautifully it has been written, just what I want to tell you about the Torah. So God told to Moses, he says that, Moses, whoever is admitted into the land, he will be buried in the land. Meaning, whoever are chosen or admits himself or accepts himself or commits himself, that is the citizen of the land, will be buried in the land of Canaan. Meaning, what happened when Joseph was interfered with the Potiphar's wife? Potiphar's wife told to everyone, here is a man from Hebrew. This is a Hebrew man who has been brought over here. And Joseph did not deny that he was a Hebrew. He said that, yes, I am a Hebrew man who was adopted from the Hebrew land. He never denied the fact that he was the Hebrew man. Whereas Moses, when he was with the Potiphar's daughters, when he was with the Jethro's daughters, Jethro's camp in the wilderness, what he did was, when the daughters of Jethro went and told to Jethro, saying that, father or daddy, the Egyptian man this is the Egyptian man who rescued us from the dacoits who were fighting with us in the well. So when they said Moses was an Egyptian guy, Moses did not deny it. And he didn't deny that I'm not an Egyptian, and he didn't admit himself that I'm a Hebrew man. That was a great mistake that Moses did. God did not like it, because God wanted him to be a Hebrew man. And he wanted him to declare that I am a Hebrew man. I am a son of that land. I am a citizen of the Hebrew land. I am a citizen of the Canaan. When Moses was denying that factor, that's what the problem with Moses, that he denied himself that he was not a citizen of the Canaan. That made him not to allow into the land of Canaan. Could you believe that? A guy who did a simple mistake of this one, he didn't declare himself that he was the citizen of Canaan. He brought out 6 million people outside. And also, there's one more point God makes him. You know what, Moses? I had a desire with you. My conclusion on Israel people was to destroy them. I decided to destroy them. When you were on the mountain, they were on the earth, on the near the at the mountain base. What they did, they made a golden calf and they were worshipping. So God cursed the people, and he decided to destroy them. But Moses prayed and he begged to God to forgive them. So God is telling that when my desire was to destroy the Israel people, and you asked me to forgive them, then I forgave them and I gave them life. Now you want your desire to be fulfilled, to enter into Canaan. In that case, you have to retract the thing that you begged the destruction of the 6 million people to be taken back. Meaning, I have done one for you, I have already listened one for you, now this is my thing that you have listened to me. You cannot. So either if you want to enter in this one, he has to sacrifice all the 6 million people. So Moses says that no. So let them go inside the Canaan. And Moses was outside, and he could able to only see it from the mountains outside the Canaan. The point what I'm trying to make you is, we might be reading something different, or we might be taught all these days something different. But when you know the real readings, you will be astonished to learn things up. Moses denied himself that he doesn't want to admit himself as a citizen of Canaan. As Gentiles, we are also the same. We are the citizens of the future Canaan, the future Canaan upcoming down. We are the citizens of the future Jerusalem. And now, if we deny that, we may not be counted as a citizen of that new Jerusalem. What I'm saying basically is, if you wanted to be inside the citizen, inside the Jerusalem, we need to learn exactly what the Bible says, in which way the Bible was taught, and which way the Bible is written. We should not be deceived by different teachings and preachings which will block us not to enter into the land of Canaan, which will not make us to that place. Because we will be stuck up in one area, we'll be roaming around outside the land of Canaan only. That's the reason I always tell that it is always better to learn the original Bible, the way that Bible was written, the language that Bible is written, the culture, the people that Bible was written, and to study the Bible in the same native language and make to understand. Satan exactly is blocking us by dividing us into different denominations, different groups, and not nearing us in the first century of Christianity, and not to understand exactly what it is to be done. So in order to to enter into the land of Canaan, we need to be proclaiming, I am a citizen of the land of Canaan. If you do not know what is the land of Canaan, what is the culture, or what is the language, what is the lifestyle, what the Bible said, it is exactly the Old Testament way. In the mankind, if it is has to be survived, it has to read the Torah. Torah is an absolute guidance for all the human mankind to be read and to be observed. And people may tell, no, that's the Old Testament book. We don't need anymore all those commandments. Everything has been gone. Now it's grace has taken over. Absolutely, you're right. Grace is given to observe all these commandments and Torah. Without grace, you cannot observe and to walk in the words of Torah. It's highly difficult for us, anyone. So that's the reason grace is given to us, to understand exactly what Torah tells, exactly how to do the commandments. And I do agree, sacrifice has been taken out, right? I know Jesus was the only sacrifice. I understand all those things, but still, all these Torahs are still exist, and all the commandments still exist, and even the grace is there. The grace is needed for us to complete, to fulfill all the commandments and Torahs. Beloved, my brother and sisters, I really wanted to encourage you to understand exactly what the Bible says. Remember this. Moses brought out 6 million people out of the land of Egypt. When Moses was in deathbed, none of them prayed to God. None of them, not one single soul prayed for Moses. What a shame on these people. Moses prayed to God to change his decision and to give them life. And God listened his prayer and changed his decision. Today, we might have been praying, and we may not be getting any results. You know what? Probably God might have decided already to do something for us. But keep praying for one another. Probably He may listen to your prayer to change His mind, to change His decision, to change and give a good life to some other people. So praying is very important also through this message. So today what we learned is Ve et Canaan. Ve et Canaan is I beseech thee. God, I plead you to change your decision. God, I beg you to change your decision and proclaim yourself. Today, we must understand we are the citizens of the new Canaan, of the new Jerusalem. In order to be in the new Jerusalem, we have to attach with the root, with the main root and the main stem, because we are the wild branch. do not standing outside there and then watching the tree or watching the cannon like Moses was watching. Okay, I want everybody to be coming inside. So adapt things, understand things in a depth way, in a deeper way, and there are people out there to divert you, to to make you confuse you. But as child of God, as children of God, we all need to know we have to follow one Bible and one word. That's a native language, and understand that one. Okay? Until I meet you next time, I'll come back with one more Torah next time. Until I meet you, have a blessed week. Shavua Tov means have a good week. Bye.